So don't you dare underestimate my experiences of being unwanted. And unlike you, Domino, I have thick skin. And when you have thick skin, you are untouchable.
Hi, I'm at the Gladstone Theatre and I'm delighted to be joined by Andrew Games to talk about his new film, Dandilicious. Andrew, lovely to see you again.
Lovely to meet you, and I love your home cinema as well.
It's marvellous, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
It's the Gladstone Theatre. It's like my second home at the moment.
I'm very jealous.
Andrew, you're partway through shooting Dandilicious. I've got to ask, where did the title come from?
So the title, well, Edwardian dresswear, which is where the teddy boy fashion was inspired by.
So this is a film about teddy boys?
It's a film about teddy boys, yes. And teddy boys were inspired by Edwardian dresswear. And Edwardian dresswear represented sophistication, it represented flamboyancy, it also represented dandyism. So if you wore a drape in Edwardian period, you were a diddy dandy. So when I was describing...
Diddy dandy.
A diddy dandy.
As opposed to fine and dandy.
As opposed to fine and dandy, yeah. So I remember I was trying to describe the character to someone. I thought, well, he's cheeky, he's naughty, he looks dandylicious, and I thought, actually, that sticks.
Dandylicious.
That sticks. So, and I thought that's got to be the title of the film, definitely.
Okay, so you've suggested that it's about teddy boys. Where was the inspiration for this from?
So I've always been interested in the teddy boy subculture, the 1950s. I've enjoyed the music that they listen to, the things that they represent, because they are probably the first anti-establishment youth movement.
True.
And I do think it's, a very interesting part of our history in Britain. But what stopped me from doing it was, A, I had no one to share that enthusiasm with, and B, I didn't think there would be an audience. But as the years have gone by, I've realised that there is actually an audience for this. There's a subculture that still exists. It's a very timeless subculture. And I thought, well, let's make the film. So counted all my monies up, it's self-financed. And we went in production. And it's funny because as we were in production, I kept thinking to myself, is there actually going to be an audience? Am I making a film for no one here? But judging by the response of the trailer, I was wrong. There was definitely an audience.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about the plot. What's the synopsis of the film?
So Dandilicious is a stylized neo-western about a teddy boy named Marty, who is the hero or the anti-hero of the film. He causes a lot of disruption on the streets. He's a public menace within his hometown of the fictional town of Listminster. And he is the king of the Teds. Or is he?
Teds. I like it.
Or is he? So this film has been inspired by a variety of different things. I noticed that I mentioned that it's a neo-western. So I've always been interested in westerns, such as spaghetti westerns, all the way down to the John Wayne classics. And this film has the similar kind of tropes and nuances of a western, the kind of the rogue, lonesome.
So have we got your teddy boys on horseback, or are they riding motorbikes?
Oh, they're riding Ford Zephyrs, which we'll get to, I'm sure. And it's also been inspired by, because of course Marty is an anti-hero, so it's been inspired by the likes of Alex DeLarge from A Clockwork Orange, the man with no name from the spaghetti westerns.
Okay.
And it's also been inspired by Guy Ritchie films. It's a very stylized, abstract film. The performances, the characters, the storytelling, it's all larger than life. The best way I can describe this film, it's like a Dick Tracy comic, but for adults. For adults, yeah.
We were talking off camera a short while ago, and you said, I think there's 28 characters in the film?
There's 28 actors. Most of them speak in part, a variety of men and women. So we've hunted long and hard to find the right people for the roles. I was very fortunate because there was a lot of the characters I wrote who I knew I wanted to play. So there was a lot of actors who I'd been familiar with for a very long time, but I've had the opportunity to work with before until now. And there's also the other side of the spectrum where there's actors I've never heard of until now. And, there was a lot of self-tapes going on. a lot of talented actors auditioned, and it was a tough call, but we've got the right cast.
Yeah. So how have you been able to do this? Because you're a full-time actor when you're not producing films. On this film, you've produced it, directed it, acted, written, and presumably heavily involved in post-production as well.
Did the theme tune as well. Yes, I'm a jack of all trades.
Do you sing the theme tune?
I do.
But have you been able to test your market in any way? I mean, presumably there are a lot of teddy boys still around. I don't know, I'm too old to know. But what's the feeling? I mean, that's presumably your target audience.
It's definitely the immediate audience. We wanted to make the film as universal as possible, hence all the different influences that have come in and out of the production to make it what it is. I did do my research on the teddy boy subculture. I spoke to a lot of Teds, and it's a very passionate subculture. With the nature of this industry, with the nature of storytelling and filmmaking, we have had to take some artistic licensing. So not all the details are 100%, which we've been very lucky that the TED community have been they've understood the nature of a low budget film.
Yes.
But at the same time, we wanted there to be a good balance of historical context and creativity to make it what it is as well.
You're selling it in the 50s, obviously late 50s. How difficult has that been to recreate?
Expensive. Very expensive to recreate.
There's nothing cheap about film production.
There's nothing cheap about film production, especially a period piece. It's been a huge challenge because there's things you've got to consider, such as the location that we're filming at, the costumes, the props. The most expensive prop that we've spent money on, which I won't disclose the price, has been the 1958 Ford Zephyr, which was incredibly fun to drive, but incredibly expensive to use on set as well.
I'm sure.
But it was money well spent. It's been very expensive. We've even used props that are as old as the subculture itself. We've got a drape from 1953 when the subculture first came about. So
fantastic.
A lot of relics.
Fantastic. Tell me a little bit about the music that's going to come in. I mean, the Teddy Boys, by definition, it's pop culture, or was pop culture. Where's the music coming from?
So the music is original soundtrack from a variety of different artists. These artists have made sure that they have recaptured the spirit and the authenticity of that era and what Teddy Boys would have listened to as well. So we've got a variety of artists such as Cal Ruddy. We've got Crank Williams, who's a rockabilly artist. We've got Dominic Halpin and the Honeybees, who's one of his soundtracks has been in the film with Glenn Close, actually, and Robert De Niro quite recently. And we've also got a real Teddy Boy band called Furious, who are really big on the Teddy Boy scene. So I think once the Teddy Boys noticed that Furious were involved in the film, I think that immediately won them over as well.
When do you hope to release the film?
So we're hoping to release the film by early 2020. We're going to be submitting it to a variety of film festivals around the world. It will be screened at Rockabilly and Teddy Boy weekend events as well.
Oh, fantastic.
In 2020. And once it's done its film festival run, we'll get DVD distribution. More predominantly, we're going to do online distribution. So there's going to be streaming services,
market,
the download market,
yes.
Amazon Prime. Netflix is a far way away, but never say never. There's been a lot of great independent films that have had the opportunity to be seen on Netflix. So you just never know. We could be there.
Fantastic. You've already released your trailer for this. Where can people get hold of a copy of that to view? So
people can watch the trailer on YouTube. You can go on YouTube and search for APG Films or Dandilicious. There's only one Dandilicious film. I have to make
Did
sure.
you get that? Dandilicious, YouTube.
Spelled Dandilious.
No,
well,
Dandilicious.
That's the one. A lot of people have mistaken it by putting the Y instead of an I in the middle.
Including yourself, by the sounds of things.
Including myself,
So if you want a sneak preview of Andrew's film, it is available on YouTube. Just search Dandilicious or APG Films. Andrew, thank you very much indeed for coming in to see us. We can't wait to see what this film looks like. Look out for the release date. You'll be able to find that on our own Facebook page, on Andrew's Facebook page, and if you tune in to my show on Vintage Radio, we will be announcing it. In fact, you're going to come and have a chat to us when just before you release the film, aren't you?
Yes, absolutely.
This is Mike Sowden talking to Andrew Games about Dandilicious at the Gladstone Theatre, Port Sunlight.